All right, very exciting time here on TJRS, John, as we expand our horizons, our brains. You know, I'm a big mentalist guy. I love magicians and illusionists. And your famous line is, every Sunday,
I created the illusion.
That you were a tough guy.
A tough guy.
You were rough and tumble, but he got it done. See, you always said you created. Well, we've got a real illusionist, a real mentalist, comedy dude. I even see music in the act, a magician. Chris Mike Magic, welcome. A little golf clap here for TJRS.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome, welcome.
Chris, I can see you got it going on. I could tell that when I met you. Of course, you're very kind because I got his name backwards. I thought it was Mike Chris, and I thought that's an odd name, but then there is that steakhouse.
Ruth Chris. Could be a son.
So, anyway, my apologies. But I have to tell you that I'm very excited to have you on the show today, and really nice to make your acquaintance. I know he must be doing pretty good because I just happened to look down and saw the shoes he's wearing. Dolce &
Gabbana. He's rocking the GQ look.
I mean, what's his name's going to be looking over his shoulder? You know, the guy.
Who, Dolce or Gabbana?
No, neither one of those guys. The guy that, the dark-headed guy that packs him in that was married to Claudia Schiffer. You know what I'm talking about?
David Copperfield.
David Copperfield is going to be looking over his shoulder.
Wow. I haven't seen him. I had to go deep on that. I speak Riggo, just so you know.
You did good. You did very good. Claudia Schiffer's what kicked in for you.
Yes.
Yeah, she went off the market to that magician out in Las Vegas. Anyway, welcome to the show. And my first question is, where are you from?
Well, I have two answers for that. I'm originally from a weird country called New York.
Ooh, I've heard of it.
Yeah, I'm from Long Island, where all the loud Italians are. That's my family. Picture a loud Italian heavyset guy. That's my dad, the guy you have in your mind right now.
The guy that goes like, bum, 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 hey, shut up, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. And he on every corner he says, honk it one more time. Come on. So he's that guy. And I'm trying to, as I perform, kick all the habits I learned as a Long Islander. I try not to in my shows swear. I try not to yell. I try not to talk too fast. So
how's that working out?
It works pretty well. But funnily enough, one of the first scenes that I really started performing in was retirement communities, because that's where they would just take a kid that had no talent and let him go in there and build a talent.
And pretty easy to fool, too.
I don't know.
Pretty easy to fool, too.
By the way, huh? Yeah, exactly.
I'd start. I'd call that single A ball.
Not a lot of big hitters there, probably. But I'm thinking he might as well leave because we do cuss, we're loud.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. And I think that people...
You're going to go back to your roots here in about another 10, 15 minutes.
It'll come out of it, too. This isn't water, but... No.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
And with these retirement communities, you have to talk slower.
Right.
So they can process what you're saying. The first few times I was getting a lot of head turns to them going, what? I was thinking, wow, my magic's doing really good. But they just couldn't hear me. So I'm originally from Long Island. And then when I was 11 years old, I moved down to Richmond, Virginia. And that's where I've stayed. And I still live now, even though almost all of my work is D.C. up to New York, all in that span on 95.
So that's your corridor. That's the hot spot for you.
So I'm curious because I think there isn't a kid growing up that once they see a magician, it's like me wanting to speak Spanish every time I go to Mexico. And I'm coming back, I'm learning how to speak Spanish. Of course, never do. That everybody wants to be a magician because there's just something so cool and people just go, oh, how do you do that? When did that bug hit you?
You know, it's interesting because when you're looking at younger boys as they're getting into finding their personality, almost every boy goes through this phase where I call it like they try to get a little bit edgy. They start naming their dogs things like Shadow. They start listening to rock and roll. They start trying to keep secrets. And sometimes as an adult, when you think about magic, you think about the colorful silks and sort of the childlike part of it.
Right.
But when you're a boy, you are... what's appealing to you is the darkness of it, the cloaks, the secrecy, the speakeasies, that type of feel. And you get so enamored by that secrecy that you start to explore having power over people you've never met before, doing things that, even your mom and dad look at you and say, what? And mom and dad knows everything, So it's a cool thing to experience. And I feel like I was always drawn to that stealth type nature. I used to want to be in the special forces. And something about that sneaky, being quicker than the eye. I don't know, I just love that. And
So how old were you when?
I was probably
were you,
about
like, starting your teens or something like that, or even before that.
I was probably about 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old when I first got into it, just in that childlike way, seeing the bright colors, thinking it was cool. But when I started to learn about the secrecy, I was about 11. Right when I moved to Richmond, I had stumbled into a magic shop. It was a really odd place. And I saw these guys going in there, going to the back.
A little dark arts.
Yeah, I thought, what are these guys? A motorcycle gang? You know, the leather pants, the ear. I was like, what is
Pulp
this?
Fiction.
I would say, Riggo, you probably were in that shop.
Passed out on the floor.
Oh, and I have to say this is totally off topic, but, you know, not only is there Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, there's also a Chris Michael Steakhouse in New Jersey. And thousands
We
of
got
my
no
dollars.
See, it's magical.
Who would have known?
I've spent so much money trying to knock them down on Google, you know what I mean, and get above them there. So I'm always competing against some sort of steakhouse.
Love your steak.
Yeah. And then I finally had a chance to go, actually, after Googling Chris Michael and them always ranking above me for years. Now I've beat him. I finally had a chance to go recently.
So you went to their steakhouse?
Yeah, my namesake steakhouse are doing great.
Did you do a show while you were there?
I so wish
Or
I
just
did.
enjoyed your meal and got up and left?
I should have, but I feel like I didn't want people to think that I
They
was
didn't
a
make
steak
the
guy.
they
You know?
didn't make the check
Or
disappear.
that it was your
anything.
steakhouse, huh?
They didn't make the check disappear or anything either.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a full boat.
Good, Todd.
Thank you.
Todd's on too. I was going to say, you know, I have a steakhouse down in Florida. I mean, there's a Riggins steakhouse down there, but obviously people always go, you have a steakhouse down here?
I'd go with yes now. What the hell?
And there's a
Entertain 'em.
Castleberry's coming soon. No.
We got a barbecue spot down in
Who, the Castleberry's?
Georgia, Castleberry Barbecue.
Okay, but no.
No relation.
No relation, yeah. Well,
Yeah, having a last name like Riggins and Riggins steak, making a reservation is a lot of fun. Hey, Mr. Riggins is coming in.
Mr. Riggins coming
well,
in.
yeah, maybe 20, 30 years ago. Okay, bring the bum in, put him over there.
Yeah.
I was gonna. So when did you become a professional?
Yeah, you know, I never planned on being a professional. It just ended up happening one day. I went to VCU down there. Sad to see, you know, the basketball season. We were doing okay.
You had a good run.
Yeah, we really did.
Yeah, they were at the top of the pack here about 5-10 years
Yeah,
ago.
they had a series program.
I actually got to be the basketball RA for a while too, which was I thought was going to be the hardest RA position. Ended up being the easiest because all the coaches pretty much do your job for you.
Yeah.
Which was really awesome. I just had to do my floor checks. And Mo Ali Cox, who now plays for the Colts, I was there when he was in school. I remember I would do these room checks, and I felt like a toddler when I walked in this room. And all the beds in the building I were in were pretty high up anyway, always about belly button height or waist height. But his was like on 3 cinder blocks just to be tall enough for him. And I remember looking up to the top of the bed like that, and it just was
What's
intimidating.
an RA?
It's resident assistant. So we're like the
narcs.
Did you know that?
The narcs.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a good one though.
Each floor had the
So
more
he's the
senior,
guy that ratted people
he's
out.
Yeah, but he would have done it smartly. He would have looked out for their backside and say, "Now you didn't hear from me, but you might want to get."
Totally.
Yeah, well, that or he would have had somebody else do it by mental projecting into him, and he went down. I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something, counselor. There's that.
I was more of the guy you would go to try to figure out how to get things done, or get around things. And I hated to do it, but also they were getting me into the basketball games and giving me good seats. And so one of them had a pit bull. They weren't allowed to have dogs in the building, and he would bring this puppy in and out to walk it in his backpack, leave it open. And I remember eventually I just let him just walk it through. Like if you do it confidently, no one will say anything. I was wrong.
Got to sell it, right?
Yeah.
Tell him they told me to.
Well, the dog got big enough to where it was a little bit
I
harder.
was getting ready to say backpack. I'm going to eventually had a body bag. In the back.
Yeah.
Hey, what you got in there?
Here's my baseball bat. So you got the long.
Yeah, that's it.
And while I was
Baseball
there,
bat.
and I actually became an RA to try to figure out this financial situation that happened, I had a pretty good amount of financial aid. My family wasn't too well off, and I had all the paperwork I thought lined up. Everything was good. I saw the amount that I was receiving and thought, wow, okay, I could really do my 4 years like this. Something fell through with the paperwork. Either there was a signature left off. I'm not sure what happened, but my financial aid advisor had left. And I don't know what happened, but 2 weeks later, he was working at the Kroger. He really was. So.
Oh, they had a serious budget cut.
Little embezzlement, a little.
I don't know.
The Kroger behind bars. That's the one he was
Well, it
working.
was
He was
funny
working in the
because-
commissary.
He was the sharpest, cleanest cut guy I'd ever seen. I loved it. I remember he had a suit jacket that inspired the suit jacket I even wear in the shows now. I loved it. He had this nice gray kind of wool suit jacket, super sharp looking guy. All of a sudden he leaves. There's a problem with my paperwork. I don't know what's going on. I lose my financial aid because they'd run out of funding. That's the thing with the schools. Once the government runs out of money to fund that, that's it.
Yeah.
Try again next year.
They want their cash.
Yeah, so I had to find a way quickly to
Not
pay for it.
true now, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely changes year to year, and even semester to semester, they don't tell you what's changing. So I had to find a way quickly to get some of those funds to continue going to school, because if I was going to try to be a performer, which I didn't know that I was going to, but it was in my heart a little bit at the time, I wanted to at least have people know that it was my choice. By having a degree, it didn't seem like I stumbled in there and now I couldn't do anything else. It's like, hey, I have a degree, but I choose to do this instead. So I went to King's Dominion, and I put a big champagne bucket that I got from Costco, boom, right there on the floor, set up a vintage suitcase it looks hideous, but back then I thought it was cool.
A weathered antique suitcase.
Yeah, and they're hard to find.
Vintage.
Yeah, and I went out there and started performing card tricks and coin tricks and other tricks for people walking by.
Just freelancing.
Yeah, and I got a good crowd.
You're on their, but they're on their turf, right?
Exactly where this is going, yeah.
Exactly,
yeah. So I went out there and I started setting up. I'm doing my tricks. By the end of the day, I had $400 in tips. I couldn't believe it. I never made $400 a day in my life at that point.
Me neither.
I was like, that's pretty cool. So I went back another day. They didn't say anything to me that day. I came back another day about 2 weeks later. Same thing. I made about another $400, but at the very end, they asked me to leave. It was the very end when they asked me to leave. Had only just gotten there.
Why couldn't they just take their VIG and be happy? It's a little something for
you should have said, hey, can't we work something out here?
So they asked me to leave. I said, well, what if I get a permit? They said, well, we don't do that. You'd have to be hired through the park. I was like, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Well, about another, I would say maybe 3 months went by. And I tried to find other spots where I could perform, and almost all of them were the same thing. They were asking me to leave because I was creating a big ruckus. I was getting people over. They were cheering and chanting. Well, I ended up getting a call from King's Dominion, and they say, we've had so many people ask us about when we're bringing the magician back. We had no idea who they were talking about. It took us forever. One of the girls in your class works for us, and she happened to have a picture of you. And when somebody showed us a picture of the performer that they were asking about, she was able to identify that was you. And we got your phone number. She had done a study project with you. So this is how we're reaching out to you. We'd love to have you back. People have been asking for you.
That's some sleuthing right there.
Yeah, it was awesome. So they really...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, what were you going to ask?
I wasn't going to ask you anything. I'll just make a comment that if it wasn't, it sounds like, you were going to get a degree and then maybe do the same thing, but you never know how that goes. Somebody offers you a job, and now you just do it at parties and that kind of stuff. But it was like how so many of our lives work out that a lot of it, you look back and go, that was all by chance,
Totally by chance.
This much, and it might have went the other way.
Yeah, and the fact that the girl who I just happened to partner with because I had missed class one of the days, so I missed being able to partner up with people, and she had missed that day too. We were supposed to be in a group of 3. We were in a group of 2. Just happenstance, and that was the exact same girl who worked for King's Dominion who happened to see my picture. It was just so crazy. Yeah. So I ended up coming back, and I'm thinking I'm going to do the same thing, set up my little suitcase. Well, I come back, it's an Easter event. What I didn't expect was there's like 1,000 people waiting for the show. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So there's like 3 show times.
Was it good and bad at the same time?
Oh, it was a wreck. It was an absolute train wreck.
Yeah. But, oh, God. Why did I get myself into this?
Yeah. First of all, it was outdoors. I had no sunscreen on. Okay, so I was...
You're fair skinned, my brother.
Yeah, very fair skin.
Okay, that's the first one. Check. No sunscreen. Keep going.
And then I didn't have a sound system, and there were 3 shows, so they came in groups of like 300 or so. So I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. I'm trying to be funny, but it's your jokes aren't as funny when you're screaming at the top of your lungs.
Well, work for Sam Kennis. In fact. He had a different thing.
Go to the food!
And at the time, I'm still trying to be taken kind of seriously, crack a few jokes in there, so that wasn't working out. But enough people had been there, and I had thought about printing business cards, because I'm like, well, if it's official for King's Dominion, I'll print out these cards. I handed out enough of them, and that's when the retirement community, one of the ladies was there and said, hey, we're just down the road if you want to come in. I did like 100 or so retirement community shows, and then I thought, after a while, maybe this isn't the place for me. So, yeah.
So, how long ago did this all happen? Over a period of how much time?
Yeah, so I'm 24 now. This all happened when I was 19.
So about 7-8 years here.
Well, yeah. So
6-7 years.
Yeah, and I did start kind of dabbling in it when I was 16. I did a few shows in high school. Actually, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to bring this up.
Go ahead.
You're amongst friends.
I mean, you don't have to. But,
Yeah, it just hurts the memory.
Moose and Rocco's out there waiting for you. So, you don't divulge it. We're going to find out.
We're going to get the truth, kid.
The way you're talking to me with that hat on, I'm getting like a little bit of the spaghetti western, your head on the pistol.
Clint's packing over
I
there.
even got the Kansas drawl, the nasal
true.
twang.
Which way you want to do this, punk?
And I noticed I don't know if you know, I'm sure you do, but you got a dart hanging off the side of your head. You really do if you look at it.
That's an elk's tooth, actually. It's
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's one of the 4 animals that have ivory.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It's from a Hirsch in Germany.
Wow. See, we've learned something today.
Can I see it again?
You're always going to learn something hanging around.
Yeah,
But
with TJRS.
it's nothing you can use.
Can I
like
take
seeing
another
it?
look at that? Let me see that.
Sure.
Yeah, wow.
Don't make it disappear, please.
Oh, yeah, I see. And
I've
then
had
there's
it
a dart
for
hanging
20
off of that. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It's like nobody knows that elks have ivory, believe it or not.
Wow.
It's a tooth, for crying out loud.
Well, who knew?
Anyway, let's not diverge here.
No, it was awesome.
Get back into the nature later.
Yeah, anyway, you're looking at the dart in my hat. Where were we going?
I just didn't want to make sure
So
we
he's
can
got a
land here.
repressed memory that he'd like to share with the group.
Oh,
Oh,
thought
yeah. Thank you, Todd.
I got you.
I think he did.
got you,
He threw
Chris.
me off,
Chris
and I-
thought they went off ramp. They're not
Yeah.
coming back.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well,
Okay, so you're in high
can't add
school.
illusion to the guy that makes the illusion, Man, okay, so this one of my first ever actual shows. The only reason I had some sort of skill set in performing was I wanted to buy a ticket to take this girl to prom, and I had advertised at this coffee shop in Ashland, Virginia, and that's a whole big thing. I put up posters everywhere. I told everyone about it. I show up, and the guy, Truman was his name, the oldest fella I'd ever met. He must have been 360 years old,
With a name like Truman, he'd have to be.
Just a couple years younger than me.
Well, he said, well, where the hell were you? I said, what? He said, the show was at 7. I said, well, all the posters I put up said 8. He goes, well, we'd been telling everybody 7. They all came at 7. When he didn't show up, they left. Well, the people who I had been talking to, they knew to come at 8. And the only people who showed up were the parents of the girl I wanted to take to prom. And,
Was that your debut?
oh my gosh, yes.
Now, wait a second. Did you get paid for that?
Now they did buy tickets, and they didn't. And Truman wouldn't refund them, even though I begged him to, because I didn't want to do the show just for them. I was too mortified. Well, they couldn't get their tickets refunded, even though we all tried. So they were like super pissed off. So I had to do an entire show just for them. I pretty much walked down from the stage and just sat at the table like this. And
Just like we're doing here.
yeah, exactly. And then
Close and personal.
I used that money to buy the prom tickets.
Oh, so you did get.
But
I'm
you did
surprised
get
they allowed
paid.
her to go to prom with you after that move. I mean, come on. Yeah, I think you won.
I don't know if they found out I was the same guy and tried to pick her up.
Wait a second. You're the guy that ripped us off at the show.
That's why it hurts so much to think about. I can't. I was with that girl for 5 years.
Yeah, I can see how that would.
Okay,
make
so
you
we
feel.
fast forward. An amazing start. And you said you're 24?
24, yeah.
Wow. So now you are performing at the Graham Hotel down in Georgetown. How long have you been down there?
So I've been down there since, we've been working on the show since mid-December. We've done 5 shows so far, but the plan is to start doing it on a weekly basis. We don't want to say exactly what days because they will be flexible. We want people to sign up and, there to be this, everything we do want to feel kind of secret. It's in a secret speakeasy, we want to
Very
keep that
cool
allure.
spot.
Yeah. it's
John,
beautiful.
they got a speakeasy down there that is tremendous. We're going to
Really?
go down. We're going to go check you out.
I keep wondering why I never leave the house, and I'm going, I need to find some place
We got
to
it.
go.
Well, this is the spot.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It is cool in Georgetown.
I'll bring my family. And, see if I show up at 7 and the show's at 8.
He's at 8 again. There
Oh,
we
yeah.
go.
You did it again. I can't believe it.
Once
He
again.
even warned me.
The mentalist got in your head.
The other
So-
thing is you could leave the house and people not know you leave the house because the speakeasy's so locked up. There's a code you got to type in to get down there, down the secret staircase behind the curtain.
Good
it's really
God.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and they just built a patio
But
outdoor.
drinking's legal, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
But a speakeasy was the place you went when it was illegal.
Yeah, but we still got some privacy. You want to be,
So they smoke a lot of weed in
super
there?
secret.
They could.
Hey,
It's illegal now.
we're not here to judge. Do what you got to
I'm
do.
just going to go down and hang out.
Get what you do the night. So you've been refining, working on the show down at the Graham. So you're basically the artist in residence there for.
Yeah, and I didn't fully write the show. Marcus Eddy, he's a performer based out of where is it? Round Rock, Texas.
Does he work with you?
Yeah, we worked together to create the whole show.
And he's an illusionist as well?
He is a magician. Yeah, he worked
Okay.
for David Blaine as one of his consultants.
Wow.
Yeah, when the hotel actually approached me, because another serendipitous moment, I was at a 36th birthday party in some guy's backyard, a swanky house in Potomac, beautiful hibachi backyard. In the backyard, I did a show for them. Well, the owner of the hotel happened to be there and just had seen another magic show the week prior at the Nomad Hotel in New York. And he owned a hotel, and he goes, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
And then he ran into me, and he goes, I can do that. And he asked me to come in, and I knew that this was my opportunity, so I worked with the best of the best. So I got in touch with Marcus, and we went over every line, detail, everything in the show with...
Is that right? Everything's scripted.
Totally. Like, every little piece is a metaphor. Everything has a deeper meaning. And I think it's sad to say that 99% of people who come will never know that, but that's okay. The 1% who put it together, they'll be thinking about it a week from now and still going, oh my gosh, and
And
that's
get a
why this
laugh
was
out
there.
of something, maybe.
Yeah.
That's fascinating, because I guess basically you put on you have a production
Yeah.
that would not be unlike a Broadway production that's written by a playwright. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is laid out. Even the words you're going to see. If I come to the show one week, come the next week, I see the same exact show basically. Unless when sometimes there's improv.
Yeah.
Based on what you're doing, it's not written by a playwright. But.
Yeah, the structure's the same. All of my pieces are the same, but we do invite audience members up to be.
So you guys work
characters.
together on stage.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we did for a little bit, just in the beginning. But Marcus is back in Texas now, and it's,
Oh, okay.
it's my solo deal. We,
Oh, okay.
We actually get him to be replaced by audience members. We have him come up and play some of the parts, which is really fun and also intimidating because I can't control what they say, and I don't try to. I let
Right.
them say it, and I let them own what they say.
Yeah,
So, we had a girl. I don't want to give away too much of the show, but there's a part where we ask everybody to share something they're vulnerable about. And they all ball up these pieces of paper and they chuck them at me in the front, which is really cool. It's very symbolic. And some of them end up getting revealed, but we don't have them admit who they are.
You don't match up to the person. And
Yeah, we don't, unless they want to. So I open one, I'll read it. It's usually something really deep, and sometimes it hurts me even to read. It could be a name on there. Like, I could open it up and it says Catherine. This is the thing that holds this person back in their life. Who knows if they brought Catherine with them, right? Because you have to buy tickets in pairs, so I'm always nervous. So I look at the audience, and sometimes it hits me, so I'll be teary-eyed, and I'll say it, and the room's silent, and I say, if you wrote this, and you're willing to help, please stand. Well, 2 nights ago, you want to guess what was on that piece of paper?
Catherine.
No, it said Dick Carousel.
Wasn't going to guess that one. Missed it.
I'm still missing it, but
Dick
I'm always late.
Carousel.
Dick
So-
Carousel.
That's one of those moments where it's just really deep, intimate. Everyone's tuned in. They're waiting for something heavy to be opened up. And I have a split-second decision to decide, well, do I read this? And it's going to completely divert the show. I look at the audience, I see how many drinks are in their hands, and I go, we're going for it.
Dick Carousel it is.
In
You've
my
always
mind.
got to be judging, working off your audience.
Right.
It's like good acting.
Right.
You know what your audience wants, you could, you read them as the show goes on. I'm
And
sure.
one of the funniest things about that, like the show must go on, I read it, I go, well, the person won't stand. Oh, they did. And I expected her to be laughing, like, oh, she made a joke. But she stood up, and it seemed like this was really holding her back in her life. So she stood up. She was all somber, and she's like, that was me. And, yeah, I really need to work on that. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I'm in the Twilight Zone right now, But the audience loved it. They ate it up.
Expound upon Dick Carousel. Well, John, John as a running back, you've always said it was improvisation, right? You can have all the
Sure.
scripts and all that, but
Well, a running back is for sure. That's what that is. It's all improv. At least I always thought it was.
Was there any
I
improv-
I should have maybe done, wrote a script and I should have watched. I
that's
should
what
have stayed
Gibbs
awake
and
in the
them did.
meetings.
The script, but it doesn't go to script, right?
Right.
When-
It's that old saying, and I don't know who wrote it: "The best laid plans of mice and men."
Now,
And
when you were
that's what
doing
it was.
Midsummer Night's Dream and plays like, was there any improv in that, or you
In what?
In like when you did Broadway stuff, like
when you
Midsummer Night?
acted.
No, I mean, just of what you develop the character to be, but that's about it. I mean, because it is a playwright, you got to stay on script. I mean, of course, I was known to go off every once in a while, only because I went up. I couldn't remember my lines.
Right.
That is a terrible, terrible place to be.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I did learn one thing, and I did it quite instinctually. I didn't know my line, and when you don't know a line, you ask a question,
What's an example?
and
of
you
that?
throw it back on somebody else.
I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, right.
Exactly. When you ask a question, it's like, well, so anyway, what are we going to be doing about, and then they got to answer. But yeah, I had to, and then it's like, either that or sometimes the worst part too is when you jump ahead. In other words, you blot out some stuff, but I guess once you get ahead and everybody
see your other character,
they pick it up.
Eyes start arching up, like, hey, I don't know, what do you think?
But that's the one thing about performance, as you probably know. I'm curious to ask you this, because every game I ever played, and it goes probably back into high school, I can't even remember, but for sure in the NFL, that the 2 hours before kickoff. And I played 100 and some games, 150 games, so there'd be 300 hours in my life that was just pure agony, because every time it was, why am I doing this? Kind of the thought you had when you came in and you realized there was all these people here at King's Dominion, 1,000 people showed up. Let me tell you, the more people that show up, that feeling gets even higher and higher. So you get 50,000 people in a stadium, and I always thought, well, today's the day they're going to find out I'm a phony. I'm not going to be able to create the illusion.
300 hours of that?
Well, but if you add 2 times.
Yeah.
So you go out, and, I was always, the first play, I was somewhat timid, actually, because I was going, I don't know, how do you, I'm thinking the defense. It's like anything else. You got to work off the defense. And I'm going, well, I don't know how you guys.
You got to work off your crowd.
Well, they're in it, but not when you got Dick Butkus over there and he's got steam coming out of his nose. It's like, I don't hear the crowd right now.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, Dick, you want to work with me today? Because, I'm that kind of guy.
You want to tango?
I'm an illusionist, Dick. Then Dick would come up, boom, knock me on my ass. Okay, Dick. All right, you shouldn't have done that. All right, now it's for real. So it's on. But
I can picture what you said. That's the steam, the lights.
Yeah,
you're right. Just the depth.
To be in that Coliseum to be in that Coliseum with the fans in that environment, and with you in front of a live audience like that.
Well, that's what it is. It's in front of a live audience. By the way, just for the record, I never had to play against Dick Butts, because otherwise there'd be somebody else sitting here. I'd either quit or would be dead.
I was going through my mind going,
no.
I don't recall him.
Well, it's interesting, and I just met him about 3 years ago. And when I was a kid, I was in high school, it was all about Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus, he's from the University of Illinois. He's
Look at that name.
Bears. It was him and Jim Grabowski. I know, the name was perfect.
Ray Nitschke.
Right? And he was, he was that guy. And so I meet him about 3 years ago. And I told him at the time, I said, Dick, I played in the college all-star game in Chicago back in 1971, and the all-stars would leave Evanston.
Well, let me brief Chris real quick, if you can believe this. Back then, a college all-star team would play the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, which was actually the NFL game.
That was legal?
Yeah, in a game in the summer before the start of preseason, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It would be the first
college all-stars.
It'd be the first college
world.
game. It'd be the first professional game. They played at Soldier Field. So during the week, we were there for 2 weeks, I think, maybe 3. I can't remember. But one weekend you would go down to Rensselaer, Indiana, where the Bears held their training camp, and you would scrimmage the Bears. And I remember going down there, and I remember all the way going down there thinking, I was like, God damn, Dick Butkus. I wasn't real big on football. Just the thought of Dick Butkus was just like, oh, no.
His name even sounds mean.
This gets better, exactly. So I go down there, and Dick, he's on the sidelines, and he's doing this. I'm going, oh, man. And then Dick was a scratch. Maybe.
Oh, so you got his understudy?
Yeah, and his understudy roughed me up pretty good. And I'm going, Dick, I don't know. Now, what's interesting about this, I took this with me because we played the actual Baltimore Colts, who had won the Super Bowl that year, and they had Earl Morrall. So I'm warming up, and they got Johnny Unitas down there, and Earl Morrall's going to start for him because Johnny was a star. And both these guys got crew cuts, these thick beards, and I'm like 21 years old, going on 22, and I'm going.
Chew on marbles.
Oh shit! I'm like, look like I got the 7th Battalion and 7th Detachment of the Marines down there getting ready. And so we get on, but I didn't know that going down. But I'm thinking that all the way, and I wasn't going to start. It was kind of one of those deals. So I knew, and I wasn't going to play much.
You'd already pissed off the coach.
That is correct.
You had pissed off the coach.
What
did you do?
Work ethic.
Yeah, that was part of it. And I didn't pay attention to meetings. Laughed a lot, and it was like he didn't like that. So anyway, on the way down, and I've got guys like Jack Youngblood and Jack Ham and his name Dan Deerdorf, and I mean guys that actually became Hall of Famers and all this stuff.
Bad dudes.
And I'm going down there and I'm on the bus because I know I ain't playing. I'm going, hey guys, we're playing the Baltimore Colts. Baltimore Colts, God damn.
Bubba Smith was on that team?
Bubba Smith. The one thing I got was a holding penalty on Bubba Smith. As he was going by, I think I grabbed him by the leg. Said, Bubba, slow down, Bubba. Dragging me back to the quarterback. Yeah, so anyway, where were we?
So, back to being a performer and what you did on Sundays and your improvisational skills, and as it relates to Chris as a performer in front of the live and working with the audience and feeding and knowing which way to go, how far to take certain things.
I'm so shocked that they let the champs play the All-Stars in high school because I think that was more of the it was high school players?
No.
College All-Stars. College
Yeah.
All-Stars would play the Super Bowl champs.
Well, still, isn't
that mind-blowing? So, if the LA Rams were not going to play...
I would be up for Pee-wees, maybe. I mean, I would have said, hey, we'll take on the Pee-wees.
LA Rams playing Alabama, right? Or
I was thinking
they would
college,
do that because Alabama would beat
but
them.
and I think my standing theory, is I think that was more for the champs than the college players. I think that they were like, hey, as a reward, let's just squash a few bugs.
Weed them out.
Well, that game ended shortly thereafter.
Yeah, it was like 2 more years, I think. I think the last time they played it was 73, somewhere in there. I thought ours was the last year, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Did they watch and scout from that? They must have, right? They must have seen the players' skills and try to,
Well, yes and no. I mean, everybody had already been drafted, so you were going to whatever team that you were going to play. In other words, I got to the Jet training camp. I played for the Jets for 5 years. I got to their training camp at least 3 weeks late. So, in other words, everybody that played then, I'm pretty sure, there was all like first and second round draft picks.
They didn't worry about you getting hurt in that, or there goes his pro career. He played in a meaningless exhibition game.
And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we got a crying dime out of it.
You didn't get paid?
We did not get paid.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do some research on this.
Senior Bowl.
There might be a suit coming.
Senior Bowl. You got paid in that. That was back in January. Now this is fast forward to July, but no, I don't think there wasn't anything in it. Yeah. By the way, you must be doing quite well with all the shows that you're doing now. When you said as you gradually transitioned from, the old folks' homes and then started becoming kind of a mainliner, I got to guess that this is the way David Copperfield started. I mean, I use him as name because there's other magicians out there like Gallagher.
Or David Blaine.
He does that thing with the with the pumpkin.
You are David Gallagher.
He does that trick with the watermelon. That's a little
No watermelons, I don't think.
When you say Gallagher, he means Copperfield, I'll remember. So,
yeah. So tell us, let's have some fun now. We're with Chris Mike.
That's true. Yeah.
Chris Mike and the illusionist mentalist. I love this mentalism comedy music. We're going to go check out the show at the Graham Hotel.
Definitely.
So let's see what you got. Let's see what you got, young man.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I find really interesting is that everyone thinks there's some sort of special muscle in my butt. I flex, my eyes go white, and I think what people are thinking. I can just pick up those wavelengths. The only person who could do that is my mother. That's exactly what they get.
Makes you pass it on.
Mothers have that.
But a lot of mentalism, at least my understanding of it, and I'm sure that there's parts of it I've never even touched before, and I'm sure everyone does it differently. But how I learned it was based on patterns, really good guesses, which I could show you how to do, and then body language is a big thing for me, which is ultimately what I ended up kind of getting my degree in because I studied psychology with a concentration in behavior. And sociology will teach you more about what people are thinking than psychology.
It's sociology.
Yeah, so it's like the study of, social interactions and culture.
Because we basically react the same a lot of times in these situations. That's what I've heard.
In fact, anybody listening to this right now, if you're listening, just think of a vegetable in your mind, lock it in. 2 things on this. Not a broccoli, it's too common, but just don't change your mind. And tomatoes are fruit, not a vegetable. So everyone's got a vegetable. About 70% of people in here will think of carrot. Anybody guys thinking of carrot? No? It's likely. You can reinforce it even more. So that's just culture. Most people will think of a carrot. A lot of kids' cartoons, when you learn vegetables, they use carrot because it's identifiable, it's easy, so it gets ingrained in us, right? If you want to use some subliminal messaging, I could say, quick like a rabbit, think of a vegetable. And by saying quick like a rabbit, making the snap of a carrot, most people overlook that. They don't even realize that I do it. The chance of them thinking carrot is much higher.
Yeah, you put it in their mind.
Yeah, so you can put it in their mind. I want to try not to do that. Todd, you have an object from your childhood that means something to you. You've got an image of this in your mind, yes?
I do.
Okay, good. So it is meaningful to you if it comes quick to the mind, right?
Big time.
I've got a deck of cards here. They're not normal. I'll be just straight up about that. They're all blanks. Can I have you do me a favor? John, could you
Pick
just
one of
touch
these
one?
blanks.
Sure, not that one. No, it doesn't matter. Go ahead. And just look at it front and back for me, please. And I've also got a marker I'm going to allow you to use here.
Okay.
Normally I do. Hold on a second. Oh. And can I have you...
I'm already done.
Okay, so front and back, I'll show this. I don't know which camera we'll do it to, so I'll just do it to all of them. This is pretty basic. Would you take that and make sure that marker works? Because sometimes they don't. I can get you another one if you don't.
Yeah, keep an eye on this guy.
Yeah. Don't blank on those.
I didn't bring my wallet with me. I feel better.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to have you sign on... We'll do it on this side. Can you... Todd, actually, would you just... I'll slide this down this way. Could you put your signature just right there for me? I'll hold it. Yep.
My full signature.
Yeah, put it in the front so everybody can keep your eye on it.
Forged checks.
Perfect. And just your PIN number underneath. No.
Keep going.
That's good. Thanks. And I'll take this. Let's recap. That's the marker. But also you have an object from your childhood that means something to you. You selected one of these blank cards. And we've got a signature on the back of it. Okay. I want you to hold your fingers up for me like this. Point towards my head. And imagine these are like satellites beaming out from your mind. I'm actually going to a satellite company after this, by the way. So I really am.
I believe you.
And just focus on this object. Imagine forming that image in like a canvas with paint. So your fingers are like setting the paint to the canvas. I'm going to clap and listen to the ripples on this paint in your mind. Your mind's jumping to something else. Just think about the object. Am I getting color? I'm getting white primarily, which sometimes means that I'm wrong. Is it white primarily or no? Because I was going to say it's either white or red. That's because red is the only real color I'm getting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes less sense to me now. Hold on.
I'm trying to figure it out myself. I'm going to get in on this.
Think about the age you were when this became important to you. Oh, I got it. So you saw it very young, but it meant more to you in that like 11, 12, 13, kind of that.
Yeah.
I know what it is. Okay, you can put this down. Holster the...
All right, Todd.
And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. It's not 100% all the time. I'm going to go with baseball.
Baseball. And mind blown.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. I get a lot of like, people will say like they're Transformer toys or they're... Here, so just check this out. You sign this card and on the back, give it a little spin.
Well, the show's over.
Yeah. Thanks. Good night, everybody. Good night. Mind blown.
Yeah, exactly. I can go home now and take a nap.
And be
Very
honest,
nicely done.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, you had not told me what that object was going to
No.
be. Yeah, you kept it a secret.
No.
I
Cool.
don't think, I've
That's-
been
No.
here the whole time. I didn't see anything.
John will witness and watched everything and
Absolutely.
what I was told to think and process. And
This part's pretty tricky, too.
Yeah, totally.
That card's been
reinforcement.
sitting here the whole time, hasn't it?
yes. Now that I just processed that has messed with me even more now.
Exactly. I mean, you
Wait
get
a
lucky
sec.
with the baseball, but
Wait.
the fact that it's written on this card is kind of like, whoa, what about that? By the way, I got to ask you.
Yeah, please.
Do you rehearse a lot?
Because I perform so much, that kind of becomes my rehearsal.
Okay.
But when there's downtime, usually in January, the beginning of January, all your holiday parties are starting to fizzle out. So you get like that second and third week of January where it's just a little bit sleepy and dead.
So you have 2 or 3 weeks there off?
So I will make sure I practice then, so I keep sharp. But otherwise,
How many hours a day? Or
I used to practice between 4 to 6 hours a day every
Really?
day. I'd get home from school, I would do that, I'd eat dinner, do my homework, go to sleep, repeat. I did that all through high school, all through middle school, really, actually. And even now, like this, this is like practice for me. That's actually brand new, something new I'm working on. you
Oh,
know.
we're just practice, huh?
Practice?
That's fun,
We talking
yeah.
about practice?
Yeah,
Not a
practice.
game.
Well,
It's better to practice when the stakes are up because then you feel, you know, you feel the same way you will when you're doing a
kind of
show.
like to think we're, obviously we're getting your best because you don't have to do any more
Listen,
tricks.
the way he produced that Sharpie, mind blown.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. It just was.
But you saw it out of the corner of your eye. It's like, wait a second.
Thought I had one, and then sometimes when you
I was
don't.
looking around for my pen.
The other cool thing about this show is that while it is a mentalism show primarily, I really tried to make it feel more like a one-man drama that has some motivational notes in it without being too preacher-esque and too motivational-esque. It really is just a show that happens to have magic in it, which to me is kind of cool because most magicians make it a lot about them. I try not to do that in the show. I try to make it very much about the audience members. That's why I let them get up there, say what they want, and own up to it. And I just sit there in silence. There's a moment in the show where a volunteer comes up, they're asked to do something, and I walk away for 3 to 5 minutes, and they're just up there on their own. It's a very emotional piece, and people often cry when they're up there, not from fear, just from what they're experiencing. And I always said, and Marcus, the writer, he always said that the show is best performed if I wasn't even in the room. It should just be,
Really?
yeah, it would
That's
be better.
interesting.
Yeah, because if people would just...
I like him
And
more
that
and more.
is
He's
magic.
lazy
He
like
gets
me.
paid, and he's not even in the room.
He's lazy
this
like
is
me.
beautiful.
They're on
He
to
gets
me.
paid while he sleeps. Who knew?
Yeah.
Start looking into a little mentalism if I can.
I just wanted something where people are able to experience it without me feeling like I'm influencing them or cheating them or lying to them. I never lie once in the show. And I am very vulnerable. I even ask the audience to be vulnerable with me. I tell them, bring the you that's you. The you that's you around your best friends, not the audience you.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because when you're in an audience, you ask people a question, they give you the quick answer because they think it's not about them. So answer like you would if we were in a conversation, you know? So people will have back and forths that are sentences long with me. I love that. You know, it's only 30 of us in that small theater, in that speakeasy. I want to feel
That's
like there's just
intimate.
30
Yeah,
of us.
that's an
In the
intimate show.
speakeasy, the libations are flowing, so you're getting probably some pretty.
You can get down pretty deep. By the way, I got a question for you. What was the red in baseball?
Yeah, what was that?
He was getting red.
I
He's
got
getting
the
With the
white.
seams.
I thought that's what it was. It went,
I didn't get that until just now.
So you just went with a baseball. Like
Yeah.
A game of baseball.
Yeah, well, the baseball
Oh, he said
itself.
an object. He did say an
the
object.
baseball. The baseball
Okay.
See,
itself.
I would have went
Okay.
with the bat.
No, because the baseball
Right.
represents the game.
That's true. Yeah, it is baseball.
The
yeah,
bat
that's true.
represents the game.
I just-
You can't have baseball without a bat, and
Well,
you can't
you-
have baseball.
You can't
Use your
play
football.
football without a football. You can't play the game without the object.
All right, okay. Let's just see how this works. Let's play some baseball, and everybody leave your bats at home.
Well, you better start
grab
with the
your
ball
forearm.
first. If you got to, you start with the ball. You need
Ball's
both.
worthless without a bat.
You need both. You
The
need
ball's
both.
worthless
You
without
went like
a bat.
this, I went like this.
Exactly. I'll agree out of court to that. 50-50, I got you.
That's how you guys know that there's some law background here. I'll agree on a court to that.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I'm married to a lawyer.
Well,
I mean, it's about time. My
He's
lawyer-
0 for 97 in his home court.
What do they call guys? He's a two-time loser.
His kangaroo court's not working out too well.
Nah, never did, never will.
I wasn't acting when I felt uncertain. The reason why I was like, I tried to cover my, that's a good one, try to cover my bases, was because I was sitting here and thinking, well, I don't know what the red is, so I'm just going to say baseball, and if I'm wrong, at least I told them I could be. And now you said that, it like clicks for me. You know?
Yeah, the card is messed
I had
with
a
me.
feeling
I got to
that-
go back and review the videotape here.
Well, exactly. But I was going to say when he said baseball, and then I thought the red was going to be the seams, but I was going, well, it almost had to be because what else would it be?
Right. Right.
I don't know, unless your uniforms were red or something. I have
No,
idea.
an object that was important to you.
Right. I don't want to get too far into that, into the mentalist part of it.
Yeah.
But because in other words, where you're divulged any secrets, but is that a talent that you work on basically?
Yeah.
And it's psychology and the sociological.
Yeah.
Have you ever missed on one of these?
All the time, like the carrot one I missed with you guys, but you don't have to take it too seriously. And on the ones where it matters that I get it right, I use more foolproof methods, things that I know will work. For mentalism, it is just like a muscle. The more you practice it, the more you get it right. One of my favorite ways to practice is, and as silly as it sounds, when you meet a stranger and you shake hands, hey, good to meet you. Just, are you a Libra? Just throw a star sign out there. They might say no, and just go, no, hey, just curious. I seem to meet a lot of Libras these days, something like that. Mm-hmm. If they say yes, they're going to think about that for the rest of their life. But not only that, you're also validating who they are if they do believe in that stuff. I'm not into astrology, but for anybody who is, they'll be validated in that. And you seem to somehow just get better and better over time at guessing what people are. I don't know why or how, but the more you do it, the more you just seem to get it right. You know, maybe it's a numbers game, but
that you can't practice, or do you? Do you sit there and if you leave, you're out and just enjoying some free time to yourself, and you go somewhere, you run into somebody, say you strike up a conversation. I mean, would you ask them a question that you think you know the answer to just to see if you're right?
Right, exactly. And the practice in mentalism is not the same as practice in magic. The practice in magic happens in front of a mirror. But I can't talk to a mirror and guess what they're going to say. I'm myself, so I don't know. What the practice in mentalism is the practice of missing. Saying something and not being right, and you can only do that in social situation. Practice getting out of it in a tactful, elegant way. You know, and the first few times, it's not going to happen. You're going to have everything bet on carrot, for instance, and you're going to look like an idiot when you're not right. But over time, you get better at just being wrong and being elegant about that. And that's a practice, you know? Like, if this was wrong, I would have, nobody would have known because I would have had a clever way to fix it or tie it back in or something.
You would have made us edit it.
I was thinking to myself. What did you say?
He would have made us edit the videotape.
Start with
no truth and beauty, people.
I was going to say, though, I'm wondering, you obviously do, I'm guessing, pretty decently. And my guess is, Las Vegas would perhaps be your final destination. Or
maybe. I'm not too set on that, but yeah. I mean,
well, not necessarily. But if it was offered to you, you probably wouldn't say no.
I would take it. Yeah,
what I'm thinking is, so the future's pretty bright, I would say here for Chris. But I'm thinking also that he could make a lot of money being a bird dog, couldn't he? You walk into a bar, you take Chris with you, put him on a leash if you want to. You walk him in, and he can look around, and he'll point to the girl that's going to go, yeah, that's her right over there.
That's the one.
He can make some money doing it.
You know what? And I'll bet you might even pay better.
Got a feeling. It will.
Got a feeling.
You get the right client.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess if the client has too much money, he doesn't need Chris.
Oh, right. That's
He just comes in and does this with
He's got his own magic.
A stack of hundreds.
He's got his own magic.
Yeah, he makes it rain.
Well, I always tell people that too. When they hire me, I say, there's only but so much you could charge as a magician, because once you get into millions and millions per show, you can make an audience just as happy if you each gave them $200. You know what I mean? They come in. The audience would be happy if you just sat down and gave them $200 and said, "Have a good one." That was the greatest show I've ever seen.
Right.
So at a point, yeah. Anyway. And it's funny you mentioned bird dog. I had heard that word because there's a company, Bird Dog, the shorts. Yeah. And then I went to take my brothers to shoot some airsoft guns.
The old beach
exactly.
the surfer shorts.
Yeah.
Come to think about it, and there's a pointer as their logo, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
A pointing dog?
Yeah.
Got the foot up and the tail straight back.
Yeah, and then you got the Bird Dog Drive was where I went. I think their logo is that, though. I think it is.
I think so. I don't know the name, but I think I've seen that logo before. The name doesn't seem familiar.
I picture the Wawa logo in my head when I picture that.
Wawa. We're finally getting them down here, it's a Northeast phenomenon. Wawas.
Oh, I thought you said Chihuahua. I'm late. I got my hearing aids in, too. It must not be working.
But I took my brothers to Bird Dog Drive yesterday to shoot some airsoft guns. We passed by a Bird Dog Drive on the way, and I remember thinking, what is that? Is that like the shorts? I thought maybe the owner of the short company worked there. Now I'm learning that's a phrase. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it wingman kind of? Or?
Speaking of where you live, do you live in Richmond and you commute back and forth, or do you live?
I do. It's horrid. I have a petition. If anybody here wants to sign it, it's to change the Virginia state flower to a traffic cone.
Yeah.
I've been working on
the 95 between here and Richmond. Nightmare.
You got to have them throw in a helicopter trip. Tell the hotel that I need a helicopter to pick me up, fly me to the show.
I come up the day before and I stay until Tuesday night because we usually do the show Mondays and Tuesdays. If not, it's some other days of the week.
Yeah.
We try to double them together. It could be Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. But yeah.
But give them an idea of how long are you going to be down there so they know that they've got X amount of weeks to come down and see you.
Yeah, every week we announce the shows. So Affinity AFFINITYDC.com. What you can do is put in your name and email. We don't send you any spam. We just let you know when the new dates arrive, and you can snag those quickly. The idea is that they sell it in just a few minutes, so as soon as you see that email, hop on them. Typically Mondays and Tuesday nights in Georgetown. It's not a magic show, it's a magical show, and it's probably one of the best date nights you'll ever go on. Cocktails are amazing, magic is tremendous, the story will make you cry. Just come, have a good time. AffinityDC.com.
And there's only, 30, probably about, it's a very intimate group, so you've only got, so when the light turns red, jump on it.
Totally, exactly that.
Very good.
All right, Chris, great stuff, man. Great meeting
was.
you. Very entertaining. Look forward to going down and checking out the show.
Oh, thanks, guys. Well, we can't wait to have you. Thanks for having me on here. True blessing, really.
I'm going to figure this out, by the way. No, I won't. Anyway, thank you much, Chris.
Yeah.
Riggo out.